Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here speaking, and welcome to another interview with Edward. And as you know, with the interview with Edward, we only talk to the best. And we have got an amazing man who I actually just found out before this interview was actually born in Ireland. He's a proud Irish Australian, and he's a very, very smart guy that provides offshore outsourcing and staffing solutions. Now, he's an amazing guy. He's originally a customer experience specialist, and he's worked with top companies across the world, including Virgin, HSBC, ING Direct, the Australian Government, Department of Justice, and various government departments I'm not allowed to tell you because it's breaching confidentiality. And this guy also madly plays the bagpipes. Tremayne Murphy, how are you feeling today?
Hey Ed, how you going? Great to talk with you.
Now, I just got to say, Tremayne, it's an absolute honour to have you with us on our show. We've known each other for a long time, and I got to say, you are an amazing man, and I only found out you were Irish 10 minutes ago. You never told me that.
Yes. Well, people ask about the bagpipes. Actually, I came over. I consider myself more Australian than Irish, to be honest, Ed. I've been here since 1989, and now I'm showing my age. I was 14 then, so yeah.
Now, can you give us an Irish accent just to show the audience what it sounds like around the world?
See, my daughter gives me some stick about this, Ed. It's when I'm talking to my parents, my folks, or actually when I'm talking to some friends from back home in Ireland, the accent from being from Dublin, it comes out. So I've been approached actually to perhaps do a short part in a little play with the Irish accent. So yes, it's there you go.
I think it's great, Tremayne, and it's a pleasure having you listen. Tremayne, I was going to ask you, what do you do and how do you add value to people's lives?
Well, what do I do? So we run an offshoring business and an outsourcing business called 24/7 Direct, and essentially we offer offshore staffing solutions for Australian companies. So we work with small to medium businesses, and what we're trying to do to add value is help the business community and small to medium businesses realize the benefit of building more scale and also rationalizing the costs associated with staffing through utilizing some staff offshore in the Philippines. We have an operation there in Cebu, and we have about 140 staff at present. And it's about, I suppose, augmenting your existing business to try and allow greater capability and greater efficiency and economies of scale. And it's very much about supporting Australian business to grow.
Wow, it's impressive. You say you got over 140 staff in the Philippines. That's incredible.
Yeah, look, it's great. And, we're one big family and we love the guys. And to us, that's, I suppose, one of the key points of difference in terms of what we do. Without getting into a big pitch, for us, I suppose, the reason I moved from customer experience management, Ed, into running our own offshoring offering was for many years, as you mentioned, some of the brands I've worked with, I've been responsible for keeping people honest when it comes to offshoring. So we did a lot of benchmarking and a lot of mystery shopping of offshore call centers and offshore operations for very, very big companies, and very much a purist when it comes to customer experience and making sure that the customer gets a good experience and the right investment is going into people. And so I suppose when I moved over and I decided to work with Devang Parikh, 24/7 Direct, and really develop and grow out the offshore business, the reason I was brought into that was really the values around how people were treated and the focus on customer experience. And nowadays, you don't need to be a big multinational company to take advantage of the global support that's available in the business community, as you well know.
Yeah, because it's funny you bring up this topic, because on a side supportive note, I mean, you and I are both very big influencers on LinkedIn. And
getting there, not as much as yourself, but yeah, with your advice.
Yeah, well, we're big on there, big on LinkedIn. And it's funny you actually say that, because ironically, we're having this conversation the other day off camera where with LinkedIn. LinkedIn's mission, I'm not reading it out word for word because it's not in front of me, but LinkedIn, basically their mission, and it says this on their website, is to build global opportunities for everyone. And it kind of aligns with what you do, because in a way you're kind of developing the developing world, aren't you? You've got 140 people employed in the Philippines. You're really helping the developing nations. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, look, thank you. And that's I suppose the kicker in this. On the offset, you can go, well, hang on, is offshore labouring cost is it exploitation, and that's sort of a big question. And are we removing jobs from Australia? So I'm one to go head on with these types of things. And I suppose the short answer is yes, certainly that can be the case in some instances, but no, that's not what we are about. So there's a key benefit, obviously, in rationalising cost and saving money if you look at offshore. But to your point, I think nowadays, because of technology and because of social media, and LinkedIn certainly propagates that, there's an enormous opportunity, even for small businesses now, to consider themselves part of the global business community. Now, you might not be trading internationally, you might just be trading locally, but there's no reason why you can't take advantage of the support mechanisms that are out there globally. And so I suppose the key point is that it's about the support and the responsibility as an employer for staff, and whether that's at home or whether that's abroad. And so that's what we're aiming to do. We really look after the staff that we have. They're employed under, obviously, Philippine employment law, and they get all of the benefits that Australian staff would get on full-time contracts, plus some others, to really retain them and acquire the best staff. So for us, it's about building out capability for the long term with clients and doing that. And you know what? I mean, Filipino people are lovely people. They're engaged. And as you say, their economy is growing now as a result of BPOs. So happy to support that as well as the Australian business community.
Oh, I think it's great. And we love Filipinos, especially our awesome Aussie Filipinos watching this video. We love your work. And I love that Filipino fried chicken and rice, just as a quick honorable mention. Yeah. So I was going to say, so what's your take on, because obviously just for the sake of the audience, where Corona, this interview is being done late April 2020. Corona hit its global peak a few years ago, but still a lot of the world, including us, is on lockdown. What's your take on how Corona has impacted the world now and going into the future?
Look, I think there's a complete pivot that's taking place for so many businesses and for so many people in the world as a result. I mean, how we manage healthcare and how we our preparedness to be able to weather the storm moving forward in terms of other pandemics that may come is certainly going to have changed. From a business perspective, what I'll go to first is people. I mean, for me, the common themes I'm finding, and I think you and I spoke about this the other day. I mean, I have the luxury where I can work from home quite a bit, and I'm really familiar with the idea of the whole model of having staff that work remotely. Of course, we've got an offshore team, and so we talk about that a lot. But I think the common conversations I'm having. Well, let's start with connecting with family and friends. I've had in the past 4 weeks, I think I've had 5 virtual birthday parties.
Wow.
Through family, friends, jumping on Zoom, jumping on one of the apps. My daughter was just saying the other day, Dad, I don't think I've caught up with Nana and Papa as much with my cousins because we've got a schedule in every 2 days now where we catch up and we all get together. We play games and we engage, and even the young grandkids all come together. And my post yesterday on LinkedIn, I was just talking about if we're to get something positive out of what is a really challenging time for so many, and it would be remiss not to acknowledge those around the world that have unfortunately lost their lives or are suffering right now. A lot of people have. But if we're to get something on a personal note, from a community perspective, I feel like, Ed, we're getting more connected. I feel like perhaps it's that thing of when we think we may lose something, we really reach out to put our arms around it, particularly that with which we care about. And so as a community, there's more empathy and we're coming together in a way. So from a people perspective, that's what I'm feeling. I don't know. Are you getting a sense of that?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And again, just I couldn't agree more with what you were saying before. Absolutely bless the lives of people and their families who've suffered. And just want to say a quick shout out to our health workers. God bless our health workers. We thank them all for their service. Amazing people.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And you see it around the world too. I've got some friends at home back home in Dublin. I say back home even though Australia's home, but that's how we refer to it, I suppose. And there's some that have had COVID-19, and one of my old friends who was hospitalised, was touch and go, and he got through, thank God.
Wow.
And it's interesting. I think I've seen the sense of humour in this situation come out for people, and I've seen quite a few positives come out. From a business perspective, it's interesting. It's I think a lot of people have been forced to start looking at optimizing and rationalizing how to deliver the same value within the service or the product in an entirely different way. Like, how wonderful has it been to see businesses being able to pivot really, really quickly to home delivery services, when previously they might not have even had that within the remit of, we don't really do home delivery for this reason, that reason, but then all of a sudden the doors get shut and it's like, well, let's make it home delivery. Or our business model is more of a face-to-face one, and that's how we've always done things. And then 6 weeks later, the entire offering has been delivered through, webcam or through an online portal. Now, for you and I, that's not unfamiliar. I've been in online learning before, and of course yourself with your fantastic Vault and all of your marketing solutions. I mean, this is second to none. But I think for so many in the business world, the idea of online offerings typically are so much more scalable, and the cost goes down and down. You build it once, and then it's repeat in terms of delivery. So that's terrific. And two, it allows for a much broader reach. So look, I think that we're going to see a much more lean way of doing business happening for the business community moving forward. And from an employment perspective and a people perspective, I think there's a calibration of priorities happening across the board for so many. There's so many colleagues and friends that I'm having this discussion with, and it's there on so many posts in people's minds. I guess when we're forced to take that break, the feeling after 2 weeks on a holiday or vacation where you get to the 2 week period and you go, I'm just starting to relax now.
Yes.
I'm just starting to relax now. I think we've all been forced to do that and then have the other 2-4 weeks beyond it. Now, whilst, it doesn't mean that we're not working, but the way we're operating is changing. So mindset-wise, I think, yeah.
It's funny you say that because shout out to my wonderful wife, Lassie. She was reflecting on that. I've lost weight and my stress levels are probably 25% of what they used to be pre-COVID. So COVID, I used to run around like a lunatic. These days I'm chilled out all the time. I have not been this chilled out ever, so I'm sort of like, I'm kind of liking this new world, ironically enough.
And I think there's some of the things that we all stress about, but because we're all in the same boat fundamentally, it's like, well, you know what? Everyone's in the same boat. These are stresses that perhaps everyone now has. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to just take a deep breath in the back seat and work through whatever the problem will be. And, so it's an interesting thing. On the health front, it's crazy. I think you and I have shared this story before. We're both, both people who have reformed ourselves and we've, really embraced fitness. And I think we both might have a wee thing with chocolate.
Oh yeah. I ate a lot of chocolate. Still do. That addiction's not going anywhere.
Whilst I'm here with you, but and I've been doing some of Adrian Lee's workouts actually at home. Big shout out to Adrian. He's a legend and fantastic in terms of the fitness side of things for online. And I only have one set of dumbbells and one probably medicine ball that's a bit too light. And it occurred to me, for a guy who went a bit over the top when he gave up smoking and drinking and all those things a few years ago, and I was part of the F45 club and part of the gym where I'm doing weights and I'm going and doing all that sort of stuff. And now it's like, well, I can't go to the gym, I can't do that. And it's right back to basics. It's probably back to the sort of training you would have done in the army, where you actually have to get yourself through doing proper press-ups, not the ones that make you feel like you're a legend, but the ones that really hurt the next day.
Yeah.
And I actually think in the last number of weeks, I had a bit of a flu and I got better. I thought God might have COVID, but I didn't. And
so you were cleared on that one, so it wasn't COVID.
It wasn't. I got tested and they came back with a negative result. They said there's a bird flu going around that has quite a number of similar symptoms. So watch out, people. If you feel really ill, of course, stay in and self-isolate. But no, there's also some other bugs going around that you might not be in trouble. So, so I think from an exercise perspective, it's interesting. We can get a lot more economical about how we do things and practical, and certainly there's a lot of different ways to get fit in that way. So, yeah.
Yeah. And just flowing in, I mean, you've already started answering this, but I would love to ask you again more directly. What's your top three bits of advice to businesses today to not only survive, but thrive once COVID ends and things pick up again?
Um, I think the big thing that so many small business owners would be um, facing, obviously, throughout this, and I know the government has done a terrific job in coming in to support and to stimulate the economy, and fair play to the Prime Minister in everything he's done with that. But the big thing is it's really rationalising costs, because unless you're a business that has really, really deep pockets to weather the storm, then getting through a period of time when you're trading, when your sales have dropped significantly, is very, very difficult. So I suppose the best advice that I could give, and that comes from working across a range of different businesses and a range of different industries. And the common theme I've seen in those that managed to weather the storm, no different to what happened with the GFC when we had that happen a number of years ago, is that ability to quickly rationalise costs and not necessarily hold on to everything, but look at what's going to help you build out to the future. So what do I mean by that? The idea that we need to just take everything on and do everything ourselves as directors or owners of a business because we're really conserving in cost is not necessarily the smartest thing. But certainly rationalising a cost. Like, I'll give you an example. A lot of people will say, Tremayne, why did you offer that client a solution that's not really one that is going to benefit your business directly? So I've had a number of prospective clients come to me over the past number of weeks who've wanted to look at doing certain things with their business and have said, well, could you help with some stuff offshore that could do that? And it's like, well, yeah, sure. And that would be cheaper than, you needing to hire someone else, or doing it yourself would be a better approach. But did you know there's a way to automate that process, or there's a way to build something that will give you greater efficiency? And I think, the key now is to not jump back into having big overheads and to have big on costs with the business, but still look at the ability to double down, I suppose, in terms of your marketing, your sales activity, and those things. And scale comes from really having the ability to decrease on costs and get online and do it that way. So from an operational efficiency perspective and cost rationalization perspective, there are many, many ways. Like, we have clients that come to us now, and we've saw a massive growth spurt as a result of this, where it's not clients coming saying, we have to let staff go, can we get cheaper people with you? It's not actually about that at all. It's about, okay, we really need to double down now and change how we're marketing our business. And I'm sure, I know you said the other day, you're having a lot of people coming to you wanting help in terms of how to get out and use online mechanisms to grow business and to market. So, there's a people component to that, but there's also a technology component and there's a process component. And we have a good cross section across the board, but that cross section doesn't necessarily come from us being the masters of everything. We provide great staff and great support, and we've got a terrific network through LinkedIn and our family and our community of other experts that we would recommend, and that's how we do things. So pulling together, I mean, it's like the paradigm with LinkedIn, and you and I spoke about this when we connected a long, long time ago, when we're talking about how social media and LinkedIn, it's not about selling, it's about giving to get, and it's about being prepared to genuinely engage with people and support each other. And pretty quickly people reveal themselves in terms of what they're about and what they've got going on. And you can become hooked into these great conversations, and that's what it is. Look for support, rationalize the costs, and double down on your marketing online. Yeah, double down on it, like double up what you're doing. And if you're not doing anything, for heaven's sake, that's where the money needs to go. That's where it needs to go, because it takes 3 to 6 months in reality to actually get things going. I mean, I was skeptical about LinkedIn being something that could drive business growth for our business a year and a half ago. And, 6 months in now, the majority of the new business that we get comes through LinkedIn. It's just such an awesome platform, an awesome mechanism to do that.
So that's incredible. So just as just on that point with LinkedIn, so you're saying that 18 months ago you barely used LinkedIn, and now the majority of your business comes from LinkedIn. Is that the case?
Yeah. And it's, don't sell in order to grow your business. It's don't sell. I mean, there are some people I think still doing some things on LinkedIn that are kind of the Ken Bruce has gone mad style of thing. It's high volume and it's clogging up inboxes with spammy stuff.
Just on that for our global audience, Ken Bruce has gone mad. He's an Australian, for our American audience, like Billy Mays. It's like, Billy Mays here. It's like the magical salesman, the magical solution, just for the sake of our American audience. It's like Billy Mays.
It's Saul Goodman's style selling, I suppose. It's it's absolutely, you annoy people enough that it sticks in their heads, and then when they need your product, they'll remember your brand. But
and that's not LinkedIn. We're not saying don't do Billy Mays. Ken Bruce has gone mad for LinkedIn. We're not saying that.
Yeah, it's not, and it's hard to get our minds out of that because I suppose I'm 45, and being part of organisations where the marketing team would spend a lot on big marketing campaigns, the whole process. And I mean, you educated me a lot on this, Edward, in terms of the idea that people, we buy from people we like and trust, and people need to understand that you're someone who A, has expertise that can deliver the product or service for them, B, is someone that they can trust, so your values align with their own, and C, that you're someone that they could get along with and have a relationship with, even if it's just a business relationship. And never more than now is there an opportunity to demonstrate that through getting on and putting up some great content and supporting it. But it's not like the old days where you spend this much, you contact this much, you convert this much. It just doesn't work like that. And thank you yourself and Lassie for all the support that you've given me, and Devang, the 24/7 director over the time, because it's been an amazing journey, both from a business perspective and also, I suppose, a personal perspective. My relationships from the business community, and we all have relationships, of course, with the work we do, but it's just broadened so much.
And just on that point, and just for the sake of the audience as well, please make sure you follow and check out Tremayne Murphy, because Tremayne, you get thousands of views. You're like a big, I know you may not think this, but I'll just correct the record. You're actually quite a big influencer on LinkedIn in the offshoring space. I'll make this statement. You would be one of Australia's top influencers in the offshoring space. You absolutely would be on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Ed. That's a really, really massive compliment. And I suppose a kicker for me on that in terms of the numbers, because my very first 4 or 5 posts on LinkedIn, I was craving that attention. How many people have liked me? How many people have put a comment in? How people connect? And I suppose a lot of people are experts in this space, and yourself, you talk about it. Those vanity metrics aren't important. What's actually genuinely important is that at any given point, anybody, a key decision maker from a massive brand down to a startup business owner that might be small now, but in 5 years' time could be one of the biggest deals on the planet, can be looking at what you've put on LinkedIn. And if you're not representing truly who you are as an individual and a person, from the heart, genuinely who you are, then all you're doing is letting yourself down. And the old days, I used to think of LinkedIn like it's kind of like the future of what a resume is. It's you're putting your resume up if you want to get a job. And for a lot of people who are business owners or are looking at promoting themselves into different jobs, of course that's what it can be. But never more than now, from a brand perspective, is that the case. So I don't know whether I've done myself favours or not getting on playing the bagpipes, Ed, but I think, if you do business with me, you probably get to know that, that side of me is there anyway at some point along the way. So,
well, we love our Australian Irish community on every level, and God bless our Irish across the world. So I was just going to say as well, Tremayne, what are some of your closing thoughts for our wonderful audience across the world to help them continue kicking butt?
Closing thoughts. So from a business perspective, I think, 3 things. The first one is, I don't believe the future of business is the Wolf of Wall Street and billions as a reference to some big-time Netflix shows where it's only the strong survive and it's dog eat dog. I believe that's the old guard. I think that's where the old guard. And I might call me naive, but I think the millennials and where things are going with the absolute transformation of a marketing industry and social media and what it represents in terms of how we connect, how we engage, and how we do business it's a key insight. It's a lead into where things are heading from a business perspective. And so with that in mind, I would implore you to seek to give before you ask to get, and to engage and to connect, and to not hold on to what you have as being so precious that someone else might steal it from you, because you're only as good really as your last idea. And if you give, you will get in so many ways. And that's what I've found, and it's certainly come from my experience with LinkedIn and with social media and what we've done on there. And there are a lot of people now genuinely wanting to engage and genuinely wanting to have meaningful conversations with each other. And sure, what you do might be something that's very specific and that requires specific expertise, but you're never doing yourself a disservice to have a good conversation with another human being and help them out.
Tremayne, that is so well said. And I've got to say, thank you so much for your insights. I've absolutely loved it. It's been incredible. And Tremayne, how can people get in contact with you?
How can you get in touch? Well, look, if you're after a conversation about perhaps looking to use some offshore staff or even some customer experience support in terms of telephony, those types of things, we would be happy to help you out. I'm on LinkedIn. You just go to #bagpiperguy or Tremayne Murphy. You'll find me on LinkedIn, obviously connected with Edward. And you can also go to our website, which is www.24x7direct.com.au.
Tremayne, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us. I got to say, it's incredible. I didn't know you were Irish again till just before this interview, which I think is really cool, because just as I was saying before as well, who is the best Irish actor in the world?
I know you're going to say it's Liam Gleeson or Colin Farrell. I think we had this debate, but who is the best Irish actor? Oh,
is Sean Bean Irish?
I don't know. Is he?
Hang on, wait a second, because I love Sean Bean. If he's Irish, I'm going to make it Sean Bean. Don't move. You know Sean Bean, right?
I think it's Liam Gleeson. I'm thinking about there's Gabriel Byrne. I would say.
I love Sean Bean, but I don't think is he Irish. Wait a second. If he's Irish, I'm going to change to Sean Bean on the spot. Hang on, where's he from?
I'd love to say Gabriel Byrne, and there's a series he did.
No, sorry, Sean Bean's British. He doesn't count. No, he's British. Sorry.
Technically half British anyway. My mum's British, dad's Irish, sort of thing. So it's a mix. But there we go.
Thank you
so much, Edward, for having me on for a chat. I'm honoured. It's such a great thing to be able to talk to you, and much appreciated. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, and thank you again. And friends, if you've enjoyed this interview, make sure you get in contact with Tremayne Murphy. Great guy. Tremayne, thank you again, and we absolutely appreciate you.
Thank you, David Zia. All the best. Take care.